Good morning, everyone. My name is Tony Pasquarello, and I'm proud to be a board member of Robin Hood. Back in 2009, I sent an email to Paul Tudor Jones and said that I wanted to get more directly involved in the work of the foundation. He responded immediately and said that I should join the board of a charter school because education is the great multiplier. That led me to join the board of a Robin Hood grantee, Excellence Boys and Excellence Girls of Bed-Stuy, and that's where I got my first look into the magic of Robin Hood, which I believe is the intersection of three forces. One, the grantees and community partners who do God's work every day across New York City. Two, the machine that is the Robin Hood Foundation, which has set the standard of excellence for any nonprofit. And three, the generosity, the immense generosity of those who support Robin Hood, many of whom are in this room today. Now, when I think of Robin Hood, I think of a quote from one of our country's most important citizens, Dr. Martin Luther King, who once said, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." I then think of what another great American, Mr. Bruce Springsteen, had to say of that original quote. "I've lived long enough to put some faith in it, but I've also lived long enough to know the arc doesn't bend on its own. It needs all of us leaning on it, nudging it in the right direction, day after day." In the doing, across 300 of its community partners, that is the magic of Robin Hood. It is the leaning, it is the nudging, day after day. Next, you're going to hear from one of those grantees, the FDNY Foundation, which is another board that I'm proud to serve on. The FDNY Foundation supports over 15,000 first responders through funding for equipment, training, family assistance, and public education. In fact, Robin Hood is the largest private funder of the FDNY Foundation's EMS Academy, which trains young New Yorkers to become emergency medical technicians. Now, if you've been in this orbit for a while, you'll recall there's a bond between Robin Hood and the FDNY. Back in 2001, just 6 weeks after 9/11, it was Robin Hood who put together the concert for New York City at MSG. That night is remembered for those who were on stage: The Who, the Rolling Stones, Billy Joel, Sir Paul McCartney. It is also remembered for those who were in the audience, a sea of over 6,000 first responders and their families. And it is remembered for the $65 million that was raised and deployed immediately through a relief fund. That was certainly one of Robin Hood's finest hours. But more than anything, that night should be remembered as a tribute to the 343 firefighters who charged into the Twin Towers and did not come back out. 343. So I can't think of a better example of what it means to be a hero and what Robin Hood stands for than its partnership with the FDNY. And with that, it is my privilege to introduce you to the FDNY Foundation and to firefighter Derrick Henderson of Engine 26.
Thank you, Tony. And good morning, Robin Hood. It's kind of weird to be up here because the truth is, I never wanted to be a firefighter or use a teleprompter. As a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. I was fascinated with stories about the great unknown and explorers. I was born and raised in Encino, California, the youngest of 3 brothers. My mom was a janitor and my dad was a chef. My brothers and I would get up early, make our beds, do our homework, and wash our hands before dinner. And to be honest with you, life was pretty good. After middle school, my grandmother got sick and we moved to East New York to help take care of her. And I'm pretty certain that the plan wasn't to stay. But the day before my first day of high school, my dad suffered a massive heart attack and died. My mom had gotten a job as a paraeducator for special needs children. But after she lost my dad, she became a raging alcoholic and stopped working. My brothers weren't around, so really it was just me and my mom. My dad died in September. By November, I was standing in line at the soup kitchen. There are good people in every place, but East New York was also littered with crackheads and drug dealers. Violence and shootings were commonplace. I wanted to go to a school that specialized in music, but I was a self-taught guitar player who couldn't read sheet music, and they required classical training. The only reason I went to FDNY High School was because it was close to my house. For the first 2 years, I was failing. I hated it. My mom put me in therapy, and I hated that too. I would show up for the session to get a free Metro card and just ride the train around the city for hours. Legally, I knew I could drop out of school when I turned 16, and that was my plan. But I had a few good friends and the help from a very awesome guidance counselor, Ms. Aries, at FDNY High, who said, you need to think about what you're doing and how this is going to impact your life. She was right. I had a choice to make. I may not be the smartest person in the room, but when I commit to something, I work as hard as I humanly can to succeed. I looked at Ms. Aries and said, if you let me stay in this program, I won't waste this opportunity. I started going to class, studying every night, and making up credits. Junior and senior year, the real EMS training begins. I got obsessed with learning biology. As an EMT, you're not a doctor, but you are kind of like a street doctor. You're first on scene, so you need to be prepared. First time I saw someone put a fire out, it was like watching Slash from Guns N' Roses. I was mesmerized, what can I say? Maybe I was cut out for the FDNY after all. I graduated in June of 2012, got my EMT certification, and was accepted into the FDNY EMS Academy. That's when things got real. I almost missed my chance to be sworn in. I had to get my driver's license, but couldn't afford driving lessons or the $100 fee for my background check. If it wasn't for my friends who helped pay my way, two of them are sitting right over there, I probably wouldn't be standing here today. Instead, I got sworn in with the FDNY on September 23rd, 2013. For 3 months, I got up at 3:45 in the morning for a 2.5-hour commute. And at that hour, it was just me and the homeless riding the train. I also had to learn how to iron and shave. And in the beginning, I tore my face up with all kinds of razor burn. At the same time, I was learning cardiology, the respiratory system, and blunt force trauma, all the things you get exposed to on the job. I'll never forget that first paycheck. It was $606. When I saw that FDNY font next to my name, I was like, yeah, I earned this. My mentor was this old, angry Italian guy who drank his coffee black, and he'd eat a banana nut muffin every day. I built a stop-in at Dunkin' on my commute to get on his good side. He never said much until one day, he pulls out his laptop and he goes, okay, kid, I'm gonna make you this thing called a 457. You're gonna put money away, you're never gonna touch it, you're young, you don't have anything, you can make these garbage checks. I can't. I got all these kids. That was the start of my savings. In 2018, I got assigned to Engine 26 in Midtown Manhattan, the oldest operating firehouse in the city of New York. It's located on West 37th Street between Times Square and Penn Station. If you want to talk about the city that never sleeps, that includes my firehouse, because we run all night. Health emergencies, manhole fires, mental health crises. I've become extremely confident in my ability to help when people's worlds are falling apart. I may not be an astronaut, but every time the fire bell goes off, I'm definitely headed into the great unknown. 3 years in, I went to school to learn to drive the rig, and now it's my specialty. Pretty decent return on those driving lessons, right? I remind the probies that success isn't the guy who can lift 500 pounds one time, but it's the guy who can lift 50 pounds 500 times. I've got my own apartment. It's nothing special, but it's mine. I've got an American Express card in my wallet that I know how to use responsibly. And I've saved enough money to buy my dream guitar, a Les Paul Greenie, named after the legendary Peter Green of Fleetwood Mac. I went back to therapy, and this time I was ready to figure out how to love and care for my mom while setting some powerful boundaries. She ended up going to therapy too, and now she's got 5 years sober. She calls, we talk. She always makes sure she tells me how proud of me she is. Right now, I'm studying hard because next September I'll sit for the lieutenant's exam, which only comes around every 4 years. At that point, I'll be 33 years old, have 15 years with the FDNY, and just 5 years until I can retire with a pension, all before my 40th birthday. Eventually, I want to buy a house outside of the city and start a family of my own. But I have to say, the Firehouse really have become my family. And like family, they will get on your last nerve. But there's no question, we have each other's backs. Looking back on all of this, it occurs to me that my life has been a series of chance encounters. We're all 1 or 2 steps away from something that can completely change our lives. But as I've learned, the chances that I got didn't happen by chance. They happened because of my friends and people like Miss Aries, and they happened because of organizations like the FDNY Foundation and Robin Hood. FDNY High School is a beacon in East New York, and without it, I would have easily fallen through the cracks. Instead, this career has been a path to stability, and not just for old Italian guys who like banana nut muffins, but for men and women from all walks of life. It might not have been a part of my plan to become a firefighter, but this job does change you. It makes you accountable. It makes you dependable. It helps you learn to do the right thing even when nobody's watching. Growing up without a dad and with a mom who was struggling, this opportunity gave me the moral compass I had but needed to strengthen. The FDNY seeps into every aspect of your life, and it has so deeply changed mine. So on behalf of the alumni and all those who have yet to serve, thank you. It is truly an honor to be here with all of you today.